Welcome back everybody, my name is Nick930 and this is a review for the PlayStation 4 exclusive racing game Gran Turismo Sport. Gran Turismo Sport is a racing simulator that focuses heavily on its online competitive racing component. Unlike previous main entries to the series, GT Sport does not feature a fleshed out career mode, and instead only offers a handful of tracks, cars, and various challenge modes that all feel like they're designed to coax you into playing the online. The game itself is incredibly polished, looks gorgeous, and handles great, but you'll need to see what's on offer to determine if this is the right racing game for you this season. So let's go ahead and break down all of Gran Turismo Sport's features. Starting off, you'll be greeted to a overly complicated main menu screen, with options scattered all around the border of a constantly rotating image, making it difficult to navigate for newcomers. The game immediately recommends that you go to driving school and complete the many lessons included, much like past Gran Turismo games. And completing them will award you with valuable credits and experience points that will be important later on. The lessons start off a bit too simple though, and it feels like a chore having to learn how to drive in a straight line all over again, and the relatively long loading times between lessons can only add to the frustration. The lessons do eventually ramp up in difficulty, and if you're a novice driver, you're going to want to earn a gold in all of these challenges before even considering the online component. Alternatively, you can boot up the Mission Challenge menu that features several unique challenges like knocking over a bunch of cones or passing a minimum number of cars before reaching the finish line. These challenges are basically the same as the driving school, with bronze, silver, and gold rankings, along with bonus XP and credits upon completion. Completing full rows in the Mission Challenge mode will reward the player with a random loot car, because we can never have enough gambling in our games this year. When you're done with the lessons and challenges, you can try the Circuit Experience, which is a great tool to study each track in the game and learn each turn. The provided videos in each lesson are excellent and explain everything very well, but it does seem odd that we're stuck opening slow-to-load YouTube links. These three modes all make up the entirety of Gran Turismo Sport's campaign, which seems odd for a franchise that basically invented the racing career mode. If you're looking to race against a large group of AI bots, you can always try events in the arcade menu, which features every track in the game, with half of them locked, requiring you to rank up with XP. Each track has 3 difficulties to choose from, and completing races with the higher difficulties will reward the player with more rewards. The AI seems to function well, and while they were often easy to pass even on the hardest difficulty, at least they didn't try to smash into me. The arcade races will require you to use vehicles that you own, and AI opponent cars will generally match your selected car rating to make it fair. However, I did notice 2 opponents in one race that had a significant lead every time I restarted the race, making it impossible for me to ever win, so I'll likely need to return to some races with faster vehicles in the future to stand a chance. The arcade menu also has time trials, drift trials, custom races, 2-player mode, and VR mode, but I don't own the PSVR so I won't be able to test that feature. Completing these events will grant the player large amounts of experience along with credits that can be used to purchase new vehicles. The Brand Central menu is where you can purchase all the cars in the game, but again, the menu is overly confusing and obnoxious to navigate through. All the different makes and brands are split up by region and hidden under several subfolders, making it difficult to really show a full-scale list of all the available vehicles in the game. But each folder I did check seemed to have a limited selection. I was disappointed to learn that my favorite McLaren P1 is not featured in the game, along with several other odd omissions. Same goes for the track list. The track list is noticeably small when compared to the competition, and most of the tracks seem to be in Japan. Most of these exceptions were made specifically to improve the quality of the online experience, and it certainly shows from the second you try to even look at the online menus. If you try clicking on the Sport button on the main menu, you'll be required to watch 2 videos that explain racing etiquette and sportsmanship. The game appears to be trying its very best to discourage reckless drivers that smash other players off the road, and it's great to finally see a developer taking this seriously. One of my biggest complaints with both Project Cars 2 and Forza 7 when talking about the online component is how reckless driving is basically essential to even stand a chance. But as soon as you start racing against players in Gran Turismo Sport, you'll notice immediately a massive shift in mentality regarding sportsmanship and etiquette. Drivers appear to be trying their very best to avoid ruining the experience for other players, and the one time I was bumped during a race, the players slowed down to allow me to pass in front. Players will move out of the way to allow you to pass, and the game's smart ghosting system makes it so players that are caught in a collision won't disrupt the race. Unfortunately, this perfect scenario was short-lived, as the next race I was smashed clean off the track at a sharp turn and lost several positions. On top of that, the collision forced my own driving score to go down as indicated by the downwards yellow arrow here, and throughout the race I received several other annoying penalties for nonsense. While approaching the finish line near the end of this lap, I received a penalty alert out of nowhere that required me to slow down to get rid of it, forcing me to lose a decent position. The third race I competed in took place on a much smaller circuit, and I had a more positive experience overall. But again, players bumping into me would occasionally result in me getting penalties or deductions in my score, and it just seemed like it needs a few more tweaks. The online sport menu is straightforward. Each day there's 3 new ranked races to compete in with other players, and there's a calendar that marks future championship dates. The game also requires you to register your email to even play, so that you can be invited to special competitions, provided you don't suck as much as I do. If you're not into the competitive atmosphere, then there's still a friendlier online menu that features custom servers and the ability to make your own to invite friends and set your own race settings. And finally, there's the photo and replay options. Much like past Gran Turismo games, GT Sport features an extensive and often impressive photo simulator that lets you drop the high-quality car models into real images with simulated shadowing and various other believable effects to make it look like a real image. You can easily drop in various cars and tweak a ton of specific settings to get the image to look the way you want, and it's a great tool for people that want to show off the game's impressive visuals. The game's replay mode also features several options along with the integrated photo mode and runs at a 60 frames per second if you choose the high performance option in the initial setup. If you chose the quality option, your replays will play at a locked 30 frames per second, but will display in a full 4K output, unlike the actual gameplay, which will only manage a 1800p checkerboarded output. Either way, the game looks phenomenal, and if you're using an HDR-enabled display, Gran Turismo Sport takes full advantage of this and may be the single best example of what HDR can do for image quality. Textures, lighting, reflective surfaces, and level of detail are all exceptional in Gran Turismo Sport, and it's going to be difficult to really determine which game this year is the best looking racer. The game's damage models aren't too impressive though. It's also amazing that Polyphony Digital managed to get this game running at a fluid and stable 60 frames per second, something that Drive Club couldn't even manage on the PS4. Overall, Gran Turismo Sport is a solid racing simulator. The game's focus on multiplayer may turn longtime fans away, but for those interested in a beautifully made, solid competitive experience, Gran Turismo Sport is easily the best choice this holiday season. I hope this video was helpful, and if you want to see more content like this, be sure to like and subscribe for more reviews posted every week.